Hi, I'm Mark Gordon from the Curiosity Lab, and we're doing a podcast today called Learning Isn't What You Think It Is, or questions they didn't ask in high school. One of the questions they didn't ask us is life, if life is such a mystery, and it is because most people aren't figuring it out, or a lot of people are unhappy, or we get unhappy at times. Are there clues? Are there rules? Are there, how do you find out how to make yourself happy? Or maybe happy isn't the word for you. A feeling of well being, of strength, of knowing who you are. They don't ask us that question. And that may be the most important one. How do you know who you are? How do you be who you are? Where you feel that you're on the right track. And that's what we're going to explore in these podcasts. Because if we can take ourselves and step back from the daily drama or the moment to moment pushing and pulling and prodding that happens in our lives and look at ourselves from a distance, we begin to get a perspective that is a little different, that can give us insight. Now, my experience with this is that over 25 years ago, I was teaching at risk high school students who were not succeeding um, and wound up at the school that I was teaching at. And I was fortunate enough to be allowed to teach whatever I wanted. It was nominally an English class. I have done some writing and know a little bit about it. And but ultimately, the kids weren't interested in, a few of them may have been in writing, but that wasn't going to get everyone to be engaged because what I truly wanted was for them to become engaged in learning as the most fun thing in the world as it can be. As E.O. Wilson, a famous biologist who studied ants, and he then became almost a philosopher king towards the end of his life, he said, discovery is the greatest high. And I've thought about that a lot, and I can really see that, and I do believe that. And that's what I wanted for the students to feel, that discovery is so much fun, that staying stuck in your suffering or you're not feeling good, why? Uh, isn't there better alternatives? But again, um, they don't teach that. So that's what we're going to be exploring. Are there, if the mission is to feel yourself, to feel strong, and be in a groove, be in that rhythm, then what are the rules? And that is a key to what we're going to be discussing. So, what are the rules? The first rule that we came up with, and it's the reason we call it the Curiosity Lab, is becoming curious. Um, because if you're bored, um, the cure for boredom is curiosity. And there's no cure for curiosity. Um, you keep on wanting to know. Matter of fact, we believe it's the prime generator for self learning, for self knowing. And so we would ask questions in school, um, and the students would also ask questions. Um, for instance, what if we were feelers who think? primarily and not thinkers who feel, how would that make a difference? It made a difference in my life. I was fortunate enough, and by the way, there's a lot of evidence right now that science is saying that yes, we are primarily feelers who think, not thinkers who feel. Now, I was just saying, when I was younger and got out of college, I was just so tired of being educated, of being told what to think and to do, and I then went into a master's program where I got a scholarship, which was going to lead to a PhD, um, and you'd volunteer in the schools in the afternoon, and it was the same old garbage of here, learn this, learn that, learn this, learn that, and with little or no input from the students. And the students I was with were content with that system, and I wasn't. And so that feeling, I knew there was more, I knew there was better. I was studying about Summerhill schools and how about democracy in schools and how students should be able to determine what they learn and when they learn. And it made sense to me because the kids, at least from what I read about, were turning out really healthy humans. And we could talk about what healthy is about as well. To where students who were in touch with their needs, they knew what they wanted, they knew what they didn't want, and they were having fun. I mean, eventually I left that master's program and went to seek a Summerhill school. And in that school, you just saw healthy kids. I mean, healthy insofar as 8-year-old boys weren't inside of classrooms trying to read. They were making bridges and tunnels and engineering with water and canals and dams. And that's what they were interested at the point in time. Teenagers would often go off into the mountains and see where the natives, Americans, had lived thousands of years before and built all kinds of buildings to see if they could. There were domes. There was Native American structures, hogans, and when they wanted to learn something, they came to the teachers, as I was, and asked. I remember one time a student said, I do want to go to college. He was 17 at the time. And I want to learn how to write and the rules of English. And we did, in 3 months, 3 years worth of work because he was motivated. And so that's why you want to make students curious, because they then are self-motivated. So what is it that you're curious about? And what is it that you don't know or want to know? Because as much as we think we know this tiny little sliver of what's out there. So the questions come from you. If you can find something that makes you curious, what are your interests? Where have you felt, and I've asked this question many times, where have you felt most like yourself? What was the environment? What were you doing? Even when you were young. I used to play ball all the time. I couldn't wait to get out of school, even though I was doing okay in it. Any break we had in school, lunchtime, and especially when we got out of school, all we did was play ball. All kinds of ball. Because the ball brought me to this space of being in the moment, ball being thrown at you. You had to focus, you had to concentrate. Or there was a competition of a game of how well you could hit and run. Um, it challenged me. It put me in the moment, and I got skillful at it. And that's what made me feel really good. And as I said, we're feelers who think, not thinkers who feel primarily. And when you feel that, I wanted to repeat that. It's just like when I left that program, that master's program, because I wanted to feel real. I wanted to feel true. I wanted to feel, well, if I'm in this education game, how is it that we make kids excited about learning? Isn't that what it's about? And so at this school, this Summerhill school, kids were excited about learning. Each kid had a vote every week we meet. And as long as kids were not physically in any way going to be harming themselves, um, each person, no matter how young or how old, had one vote in deciding the policy. And that was exciting and sometimes scary for us teachers. Um, but we knew the concept was correct. You're teaching kids how to become a citizen in a democracy where you can choose to do what you want to do. As long as it was not bugging anybody else. And if it did, then you worked out some sort of compromise. So by the fact that I left a cushy master's program that was, I would have been really not challenged by it much, but I would have been, quote unquote, taken care of by the university. I had to go with my feeling, and I did. It's just like I had to go with my feeling. I love playing ball after school, so I did. I was there were all these other activities that my parents, especially my mother, wanted me to do, including playing the piano or playing the trumpet, and they didn't resonate. And so that's the question. What resonates with you? What gives you that feeling of either playing ball or going to a school where you're actually helping kids learn? And so, what is it? How is it that we figure out the mystery of who we are? And we believe the rules are first, be curious. What are you curious about? The next one is being playful. Alan Watts, a famous wisdom speaker of years ago, said the art of life is to be paid to play. And if we can find out if I can be paid to play ball, and the crazy part is I do get paid to play ball, even now. And I love playing ball, even now, even more so because it puts me in that moment. But if you can be playful instead of, I'm grinding, I gotta get this done, what's next on the list? That whole sense of where your vibe is at, that feeling, because we're all putting out vibes all the time. What is it that vibe doing to ourselves and affecting the folks around us? And when you're playful, things are just a lot easier. It becomes more spacious. And we'll talk about space a lot in one of the podcasts and why it's so important and what are the goodies in feeling spacious. So That's the second part. Being playful in our outlook, being playful using games, not taking things too seriously, to understand that what we're doing is that this whole thing is just one experiment. And especially when you're young, why not find out what activities bring you to that center of that really good feeling? Ultimately, there that feeling thinking duality is thinking can only get you so far. That's the rational. The heartfelt response, the place where you're in a groove, in rhythm, that's the ultimate. It's sort of almost like thinking can take you to get you, let's say, to a really good concert, and you excited about it, and you travel with your friends, and you get out of the car, and you're walking towards the, the arena or the the hall, and you can feel the vibe. There's an excitement going on, the unknown, the the music that you can't wait to hear. What will they play? How will they play it? The audience's reaction, and that's all those thoughts, and they're good, they're fun, and then you realize, well, you left your ticket at home, and you can't get in. And the difference between getting in and experiencing or forgetting the ticket, that's the place of where thinking can only take you so far. It can get you to the gate, it can get you to the ticket booth, but it doesn't get you in. Or even let's say you got in, okay, and intermission happens, and you've been having a blast. The vibe is moving and moving you, and you're responding. And then when the intermission happens, you turn to a friend and say, "Wasn't that great?" And your vibration goes down because the experience will always trump the thought. So that's why being playful, feeling the experience, trying new things, being curious are two core parts of who we are and what we do. And the crazy part of it is that we've been doing this for millennium. We've been doing this for tens of thousands of years, even in the cave dwelling era. The adults taught their kids through play because they understood that the playfulness, like for instance, take a game of hide and seek, those were critical skills to know growing up when a big animal could come and eat you, or and so you had to learn how to hide, or where you were going to hunt and seek. Both of those, and they're inherently built in us. These games are still played today all over the world and have been. Um, and science now has validated that this is a great way to learn how to how to learn or to play. And play is a great way to learn. They've even now found out that open-ended play, not how rich you are, not how smart you are, open-ended play is the number one reason for creativity. That creates creativity. So this is a very powerful tool we use besides curiosity. And the third tool to unravel the mystery is perhaps to create more mystery. And that is being in nature. Nature is the mother of all systems. It's the most creative force in the world. And I live in this beautiful, beautiful spot on this planet in inland Northwest, where there are mountains and cascading mountains, and there's the Columbia River, and there's hills to walk, and there's lots of space to be. We have 24 in this county. I figured it out. We have 2,400 trees for every person. So it's healthy. You get the oxygen, and nature is constantly full of surprises where you have to play attention. You don't have to pay. And the seasons changed. The leaves now are falling, or just about all fallen off, and we're headed into winter, which is a really eye-opening place, because when you're in winter in the Northwest, inland Northwest, where it gets pretty damn cold, um, you get to understand what's really important. Nature teaches you what's really important, and so it not only stimulates you, it's not only a great teacher. What does nature teach you in the winter? Nature teaches you there's the most important things is to be dry and warm. And when you're working outside and it's cold and it gets clammy and your feet start to get cold, or your head does, you can, if you have your fire going, you can come inside and warm up, and it's a great joy. Simple, simple pleasures. So nature teaches you a lot of lessons. It stimulates you with all its amazing rules and laws just by observing. And it also, at the same time, it heals. There's a place that you feel relaxed and at ease and at home. So those are the three elements that we will investigate in these podcasts, so that we can figure out together this mystery of us, of who we are, of where we find that groove. Because each of these three things, curiosity, play, being in nature, lead to us being more in touch with who we are, what we really love to do, what makes us feel strong and happy and in the moment and at ease. So I hope you come join us. We'll be going into some specific techniques of how this works, of how to figure yourself out, of how to use curiosity and play and nature, so that we grow to become who we can be. Anyway, thanks. See you next time.